Well, it isn't too often we get the opportunity to race on a Sunday in the Pacific Northwest. Tonight we are competing at the Cottage Grove Speedway in Cottage Grove, Oregon. Night number one last night did not really go as planned. I was running second in the feature, trying a bunch of different lines, trying to track down the leader, and actually spun out on entry to turn 3. After that, the rest of my A main event was a disaster. We had a lot of yellows, weren't able to get laps in, but the racetrack was really racy. The Cottage Grove Speedway, it's a quarter-mile dirt track here in Cottage Grove, Oregon, and around this place, I actually found out last night, I finally looked at their timing. We're going about 75 to 77 miles an hour, which that's pretty good for a winged limited sprint that only has 550 horsepower, but a quarter mile, there's a lot of banking here. You can run the bottom, you can run the top. There's multiple driving styles you can kind of attempt to take on out there. So we're gonna get after it. Carly's gonna be in the 22C. I'm gonna be in the 18T tonight. Probably gonna have about 15 limited sprints, $500 to win. We're gonna go out there and see if we can put it in victory lane and try to rebound from last night. The first thing that's gonna happen, we're gonna fire up for motor heat and then go right into group qualifying. Well, the racetrack is pretty greasy. It started to burn off there, but I kind of questioned, they threw quite a bit of water on it right when we went out to pack, and it's a hard surfaced racetrack, which means it's not soft. It's a hard surface, but there was just a lot of water on top of that hard surface, which made a lot of us just spin the tires. You know, it's really greasy out there. That's where that term comes from. I was group 1. Looks like Carly's coming in after group number 2. I think we were fastest in our group. A lot of guys were struggling to get some grip, obviously, because there wasn't any out there. So starting the night by playing in the mud a little bit. Hopefully it burns in, and I'll keep you guys updated on kind of what the track conditions are, where we ended up, and what the rest of the night is going to look like here for the 18T.
California's Central Valley, Colorado Speedway, Hanford, Thunderbolt Raceway in Tulare, as well as Ocean Speedway in Watsonville, among some places that they have visited already in 2021.
Well, we just picked up a Trophy Dash win here at the Cottage Grove Speedway. Started front row outside next to Steven Snotter in the 12 car. I've ran with him for the last couple of seasons. He threw a nice clean slider into 1, kind of slid across the groove. I was able to cross him, kind of return a slide job, and then drive away to the 4-lap Trophy Dash victory. So our car's got some speed. That was just for a trophy. It didn't really mean anything as far as the rest of our night goes. Just some more laps on the racetrack, but I think it's going to be good. It's already starting to slicken off a little bit on entry to both corners, and now we're going to be rolling off from the second row inside starting spot in our heat race. Third, we got to try to pass some cars. If we finish anywhere in the top 4, actually top 5 or 6, it all is then up to a dice roll where we're going to start for the A main event. So this heat race really doesn't mean a lot as long as we kind of just maintain and ride around where we're at. super lucky that it looks like nothing has broken the rear end. Our shocks, rear axle, radius rods, torque tube. Just a bonehead move on my part there in the heat race. I was rolling good, and I just completely missed the top of 3. There was a lap car we were kind of coming up on, and I think I just kind of lost focus there entering the corner, paying attention to that and where the cars in front of me were gonna go, and I slid off and caught the tire / wall. So we ran last in the heat race. I pulled off because if something was broke, I did not want to just risk it, try to pick the smarter decision. Now we're gonna be rolling off from dead last in the A main event, 15th or 16th. We definitely have the speed to still win and drive to the front. Now I guess we're just gonna have to put on a show. So last minute adjustments, quick night. Sun's not even completely down yet, and we're gonna be rolling out soon. All right, we have 25 laps ahead of us at Cottage Grove. We were supposed to start 15th, but the car in front of us elected to start behind us in the back. So I think we're rolling off from 13th. We have the speed to get to the front. It's more about missing wrecks. If we do get into lap traffic, if we're able to get to the front, but I'm pretty confident where our race car's at. We just had a hiccup there in the heat race, and that's just kind of how our weekend's been. We haven't been able to kind of, get a whole night in without a little bit of trouble. So if anything here, we're just gonna have to pass race cars. We're gonna be able to test out a lot of different lines. It looks like the racetrack's pretty racy, and yeah, and this is the end of our weekend, so let's try to make it the best we can and not let, previous laps around the racetrack tonight, affect it. I think we're good and made a couple changes. We should be dialed. You want a sticker?
Sticker? Thank you, bud.
Hold on. Tanner currently has.
Thank you, Tanner.
No problem.
Will you be here next weekend?
That's the game plan. That
Bring
is.
your card up here again.
You want this one? For 4th of July? Yeah? Okay.
Well, a fun, busy, and hectic weekend at the Cottage Grove Speedway has come to an end. Always nice when you have a feature winner check in your trailer and a trophy. After my mistake last night, I really wanted to bounce back tonight, and we qualified good. Had another mistake there in our heat race, which set us back. We were joking. We were starting 80th row, which means, dead last. I think one car elected to go behind us, so I think we rolled off from 13th or 15th, somewhere in there, and was able to pass cars, get to the front by about lap 15, take the lead. But I think the biggest thing about tonight was not necessarily that we drove from 13th to the win or led laps or anything like that. It was more the quality of those last 10 laps once the green flag flew and we finally got going in some clean air, out front. I was able to hit my marks, in 1 and 2, really ripping the high side and felt comfortable, and the car felt really, really good. Even though it was a limited, some of the things we've struggled to get the race car to do, roll through the corner, get through some of the rough stuff good, and then also, be able to go to the other end, 3 and 4, and do a completely opposite way of running the corner, running the bottom, slowing it down for the slick, and it rolled down through 3 and 4 and caught the grip well as well. So all of those things are super important to a race team, and I'm glad, after the grind, love that word, after the grind to the start of our season at so many difficult tracks and with so much good competition, we were kind of able to come back, Cottage Grove, get back to the basics, and put all of our plans and some of the things we're trying into motion, and it ended up being a successful night. So great to bring home the 18T in victory lane. Unfortunately, Carly had motor trouble after a heat race where she was rolling. She would have been very strong in the feature, but that ended her night early. But we are all loaded up. Real quickly, just want to thank Lafarge North America, and Next Gen Def, Carson Oil, Pit Stop USA, Fast Form Media, Earth Environmental, OMA KTM, QRC, On-Site Screeners, Durango RV, Ferguson, Swindell Speed Lab, and everybody that supports the 18T. I think this was a good little confidence booster, some great laps, and now we're going to take all that and to go into probably the most difficult part of our season. We have some national races coming up. We got some speed weeks we're going to be hitting, and it's time to kick everything into high gear. So we got some good quality laps in. Carly got some laps in. I know it was cut a little bit short, but she has a couple races coming up before we really start to hit everything super heavy. So back in the shop tomorrow, wash both race cars, and just glad to make a nice video. We're able to get 25 great laps under our belt. So thank you guys for watching. Thank you for supporting us. The journey is the fun part. The destination is what we're all going for, but remember, it's all about the journey. See you guys all in the next one. Thank you. Deuces.